Night one of the Democratic National Convention, and it is a convention like none other, with COVID-19 forcing the party's biggest celebration online. The theme for the night, unity. Former First Lady Michelle Obama capping the first day with a keynote address praising presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden.
I know Joe. He is a profoundly decent man, guided by faith. He knows what it takes to rescue an economy, beat back a pandemic, and lead our country.
Let's turn to Francesca Amaker now, following the developments from the DNC. Fran, the former First Lady, also taking aim at President Trump and strongly urging people to vote.
And she wasn't the only person taking aim at President Trump. In fact, Republicans were at the DNC taking aim at President Trump. And it's an unconventional thing, right? But it happened last night. Take a listen to the details. Former Ohio Governor John Kasich said the current times have led him to the extraordinary step of backing a Democrat. Other Republicans who appeared include former New Jersey Governor Christine Whitman, former Congressman Suzanne Molinari, and business executive Meg Whitman. We also heard from a touching moment from the family of George Floyd. His brother, Philanese, led a moment of silence with convention participants across America taking part in that moment. And Joe Biden also made an appearance in a pre-taped conversation on racial bias in policing and the criminal justice system. Biden agreed with Houston's top cop on the needs for national policing standards, including on techniques like chokeholds.
I may be kidding myself, but I think the people are ready. I think people are ready. We just got to keep pushing. We can't let up. But thank you.
Now, here's what some of you are saying about this entire DNC online. Keaton says in her speech was honesty, truthfulness, real concern for every American, clear vision for a better future, and fearlessness. And he's talking about former First Lady Miss Michelle Obama. And Johnny says she mentions everything Biden doesn't have. And next we have who else is speaking to us? John, who says, great speech, but she's not running. I don't think the speech represents Biden. So you can see there are both sides speaking out on us this morning. But tonight's speaker lineup includes former President Bill Clinton, Dr. Jill Biden, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Miss Stacey Abrams. So the question I have for you this morning, will you be watching the DNC? Will you be informing and enlightening yourself on what they're talking about? Use the hashtag MorningRushATL.